Two old boys ain't much for working. 2 shots on a barrel and they're talking about bourbon. Talking about a few other things that they don't know. If you've got a question, no need to ask. They don't have a clue, so raise your glass. Take a sip with the Bowl Brothers. Now it's on with the show. From the heart of central Kentucky, the bourbon capital of the world, it's 2 shots on a barrel with your host. A couple of hot shots of their own, the Bowl Brothers.
Back to 2 shots on a barrel. My God, J-Bo, it's been 100 years.
It's been a while since we've been in here. This COVID thing has thrown a wrench into a few of our shows, so, it's been a little bit. But if that ever happens again, Jim, we have some new friends in the podcast world that reached out, and they have a podcast similar to us. It's called Cross the Line 1524. So if you're ever sitting waiting for our podcast and it's taking too long, go check out theirs until we get one up. They're good guys. Alan Stinger's a great guy. You'll enjoy their show.
So they've actually asked us to be on their show, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll collaborate one day.
Maybe we'll collaborate. What's stuff. A 1524? What is that?
I don't know. I just met him. I don't know.
You said he was a great guy. I figured you would know all that information.
Come on, man. I just met him.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, it's Alan Stinger. Go look him up on Facebook and you'll learn all about it.
I got to give you a hard time, J-Bo. It's been way too long.
It has.
It's been way too long. Well, we're back in. That's all that matters. We want to get some shows in before 2021. I mean, 2020 has just been such a fabulous year. We figured we'd get a couple more shows in, right?
And we're going to end it with a bang, I'm afraid. I think it's really we're going to have the episode of all episodes right now.
Let's just get the shit right out in the open, J-Bo. Have you ever smoked dope?
Have I? I've smelt it. I want to tell these guys.
So you're
right
like
now.
Bill Clinton? Have you just
listen? Here's 2 things. I've been in the courtroom once for jury duty, and they kicked me out because they didn't want me. And
what's that have to do with my question, man?
And I've been around dope one time at a Tom Petty concert, and the contact high just about kicked my butt, so I knew I had no business messing with it if I can't handle contact high.
You're not under oath at this time.
I know, man. I know, man.
We'll just go ahead and tell
So what about you, mister? What about you? Have you ever had it?
Oh, God, I plead the fifth.
Okay. But tell everybody who's here, man.
No, J-Bo, I'm going to let you do it, brother, because you've been reading books lately, which is something that you don't normally do.
I never read books.
And I really feel like that you ought to be the guy that introduces our guests.
My eyes are burning, boys. It usually takes me 2 years to read a book, but since Christmas, my mother-in-law gave me 2 books. One is The Origins of the Cornbread Mafia, memoir of sorts.
Did you say origins or orgies?
Whichever one you want.
It's a little bit of both.
And then the other one is Cornbread Mafia, The Outlaws of Central Kentucky with Joe Keith Bickett. I've been reading those books since Christmas, and I'm still not quite finished, but I tell you what.
So you actually got both books for Christmas?
Both books for Christmas.
That was cool.
I finished the first one, which was a feed on itself. Then I took my son to eat, and a cop pulled up next to me, and I got all jittery. I felt like I was in the mix. That's how good the books are. So, guys, welcome to the studio, Joe Keith Bickett and Robbie Bickett.
What's going on,
so much,
fellas?
guys, coming in.
Thanks for having us. We're glad to be here.
Man, this is awesome. It's when you talk about the Cornbread Mafia, J-Bo, I mean, it's legendary in these there parts.
But you know what? What you hear on the streets, I've lived here probably about 15 years, and what you hear about the Cornbread Mafia is not the same as what's in these books. The truth lies in these books. And if you haven't gotten these books, you need to get these books. And I'm sure Joe Keith can tell us where to get them because Santa Claus brought mine. Okay? Yeah. So where can we go to get these books right off the bat?
Well, you can get them on Amazon, first of all, and then a lot of the local places around here. I think you can go to Barstown and get them at 150 Quick Stop. Mary's out of the way. Excuse me. And Mary's over there. Okay. Yeah. Missy's out of the way has them. But usually you can get them on Amazon is the easiest way. You can get them in
Okay.
Yeah, you can get an ebook or the hard copy, either one or the paperback.
Okay, great.
This is like real life stuff too.
This
David.
is like stuff that I've read books and I really like to watch. Stuff about rock singers and how they were how they started and how they ended.
Yeah.
Dude, they don't have nothing on this guy. I watched Alice
Might
Cooper.
exaggerating there a little
No,
bit.
man. I sat there and read Alice Cooper's, book of his life.
Right.
And I was like, shit, dude, that dude's nuts. He has done everything. Nothing. These books right here drag you into it, his world, Joe Key's world, and showed me things that when I didn't know.
Was going on.
I didn't know. And when you said in one part of the book that somebody took a hard right over by Fergie's. What's the name of that road over by Fergie's? McElroy Park. Took a hard right on I'm like, dude, I've been on that road, man. That's crazy. So, it really just sucked me into these books. And,
Yes.
my gosh, dude, you lived it.
Yeah. Well, it's a memoir, and we just hit the high points in it. And I started chronicling these books or writing those memoirs. I did a little bit in prison back in the 90s and everything, and I had a lot of time in there to write these memoirs. And so that's the basis of these books. While I was in prison, I chronicled a lot of stuff that happened out here back in the 70s and 80s. And the first book kind of covers a period in the 1970s when it was kind of a fledgling thing here in Marion County to start growing marijuana. And, of course, at that time, it was just a state-level charge. It was a misdemeanor. And hell, we didn't think anything's wrong with it at that time. Hell, same thing as a traffic ticket. The state handled all of that stuff, and it was a misdemeanor underneath Kentucky law at that time.
$500 fine.
Like Robbie says, $500 fine. Mm-hmm. But then that all changed in 1980. The feds started getting involved in it, and that's when they upped the penalties, both in Kentucky and with the federal government. There was a lot of stuff come into being at that time, namely a lot of federal statutes, such as Comprehensive Crime Control Act, sentencing guidelines, and a number of other things. That was the war on drugs at that time was under Ronald Reagan, President Ronald Reagan at that time. So anyway, it was a hell of a venture from 1970 to 1990, and then in 1990, a lot of us winded up in federal prison. But it was a big story along the way from the 1970s. Early 1970s up. So, yeah, it was pretty big.
So, Super Bowls, trips to Vegas, trips to here, trips to there, just to recover from the pot season, just to get your blood flowing again and ready to do it again. Mm-hmm. How awesome was it, man? How awesome.
It was cool, living on the edge.
Yeah. That's kind of, but, all right, so when did all that stuff start?
When did it start?
Yeah, well, J-Bo's been filling me in on some of the little high notes of the book. Yeah. And full disclosure, though, I've read your first book, just not the second.
Right.
But all right, so when you guys got going, though, you mentioned the 70s. You were involved in the 70s, right? When all this got going, you guys are sitting around saying, "Hey, let's grow some weed," but it didn't just start out like that. As far as Super Bowl parties in Vegas, walk me through this timeline of how it went from just some guys sitting around saying, "Hey, let's do this," to Super Bowl parties.
Well, it started off innocent enough. Back in the 70s, your Vietnam veterans were coming home. They come back with a little different attitude. You guys probably heard this story before. And then you had the hippie generation coming in at the same time. And then you just had a lot of different people, a lot of different aspects started joining together. Well, when pot was started coming in, say in the 70s, when the hippie move was coming on. And people were buying just a little amounts of marijuana at that time. And at that time, us country boys out here saying, well, hell, we can do this. We can grow this ourselves. And so we started off small enough, just a few plants. Instead of buying the import, we started growing a little bit, and as the years passed, being entrepreneurs like we were, like Robbie says, we just kept expanding, and as years passed, it's just a period of years of trial and error, and when we finally become so big, we had it down pat on what we call open field growing. Now today, most cannabis cultivators are growing inside, whereas back in the 70s, we were what you call open field cultivators. We grew everything outside. We grow like 5-10 acres. It wouldn't matter to us.
Just in an open field?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, usually,
Right.
It was interspaced with corn sometimes. Sometimes in the early years when no one knew what it was like, you could grow a whole field of marijuana at that time.
Nobody paid attention to it.
But, it didn't take – it was a no-brainer. We were raising the tobacco for a couple of dollars a pound, and marijuana was worth, a hell of a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
So, everybody jumped on board. There was a lot of people jumped on board, and it made a lot of money, and it buoyed the economy around here, not only in Marion County, but all across the country. Yeah.
When later on, when you guys finally, it was such a big thing, the feds got involved, and it became what it became. 100 people or so from quote unquote the Cornbread Mafia spent some time behind bars in some capacity. But many, many more, is it fair to say many, many more were involved in the Cornbread Mafia than just 100 people?
Well, I have to evoke Omerta right here. But of course it was. It doesn't take any mental giant to put that together.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a mental giant, J-Bo.
But
J-Bo will tell you that.
The deal is, if you got all this out here, you got distributors, you got people that store, you got people to do this. It was a huge network. And fortunately, the biggest percent didn't go anywhere, and they did well, and they're still at home. We got families and businesses, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
I think one of the things that made the Cornbread Mafia what they were is the word you just mentioned. What was that silence?
Let's see if you can say.
I can't say
no,
it.
No. Joe Keith, don't say it yet. Let's see it. Let's see if he can say it.
Omerta.
Omerta.
Okay.
Omerta.
Okay. See, I've already been two in, so my tongue.
I wanted to see how he would say it because he was going to butcher it.
Actually, that term wasn't coined many years later. When we were coming up in the 70s, we'd never heard the word Omerta. We had lived just by a code of silence like anyone did back in the 70s and 60s, when all the moonshiners were in here. Yeah. You just didn't tell on people.
Yeah.
And that's what Omerta is.
Yeah, basically. But that was coined later on, the Omerta term. It wasn't around back in the 70s. It didn't come along until up in the 90s.
I think it's an Italian term for the mafia over there.
Our good friend Johnny Boone, I think, I will give him credit for that.
So essentially, it's just you don't tell on your brother, right?
Right. Well, especially in stuff such as making whiskey or growing marijuana, or for that matter, back in the day, lots of people grew illegal tobacco, and people pretty much kept their mouth shut on stuff like that. They usually kept everything at home. You know? That's just the way it was. It wasn't that you told on everything that you saw.
Right.
Yeah. That's one thing that stood out in these books was your brotherhood with guys and girls that they knew. Well, you knew your core group had your back because they absolutely, and they all knew that you had their back.
Yeah, we were one good happy family there at one time. In the 70s, we did real well, and but it wasn't just all about us. I got to reflect back to the time that when the interest rates and a lot of stuff was up, and it was really hard back in those years because the interest rates were really high.
78, 77.
Yeah, I mean we're talking nearly 20% interest rates, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of people was really making it, it was really tough for them to get by. And so, they was turning to a little bit of marijuana entrepreneurs, and they did a lot of work. And some of them got in, stayed for a while, got on their feet, and got out. Smart guys,
Well, what I think is funny today is that you see these people out west growing marijuana and in Colorado and places making all this money. And even today, you still have this federal government who says people should still be in prison over marijuana.
Yeah.
When out west, you've got states, 28 states, I think,
it's crazy.
that legalized it in some form.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I asked you this on the phone, but I want to ask you here in person. How does that make you feel? I mean, it could go either way. A man that's spent 20 years of his life.
21.
21. Got a 25-year sentence. But 21 is what he spent.
And how do you feel about, I know how I would feel, about the time you spent doing it, and now there's people doing it and can just walk the streets and smoke it and do whatever they want.
I'm not bitter about anything like that. It was just the way that things shook out. I don't think any of the core members of the so-called Cornbread Mafia feel themselves as victims. I think we all look at ourselves as survivalists, and we never have never felt that way. Of course, if you want to be bitter about something like that, you get a huge chunk of your life ripped out of you. But that's just the way history goes. Like a lot of my friends back in the 60s and 70s that went to Vietnam, 50, 60,000 lives lost over. It's just a period in time when things happen. And you can either reflect back on that and play yourself a victim, or you can go forward and try to do something positive for your life.
Well said.
That's great,
Man,
That's
I hear you. J-Bo, we need to take a break. You had mentioned before we even got going, you're like, usually our shows, guys, run about an hour, or an episode. And J-Bo was like, I'm not sure how we're going to do this in an hour.
There's so much to talk about,
I'm not sure how
man.
we're going to do this in an hour.
We'll let Robbie follow up.
And I'm not sure, I'm not sure. And keep the bourbon pouring, because hell, we might be here all night. Who knows? All right.
A week or two.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get into some more about the Cornbread Mafia with our brother Joe Keith Bickett, Robbie Bickett. Man, this is good stuff, I got to tell you. So stick around for more Two Shots coming your way.
The Marion County Trail could be the best value in bourbon-themed travel in Kentucky. You'll experience one of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail's crown jewels, one of the Bourbon Trail Craft Tour's top-rated stops, and something you can't find anywhere else: organized tours of a bourbon barrel manufacturing facility, all in one place. It's the Marion County Trail. Take your time to tour, dine, shop, and stay all along the way. Explore world-famous Maker's Mark, a hot-ticket item on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, Limestone Branch Distillery, home of world-famous Yellowstone bourbon, and one of the top-rated stops on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Craft Tour. Kentucky Cooperage, the sprawling plant where the thriving bourbon industry's barrels are hand-built and seared with fire for bourbon aging flavor. And Lebanon, home of wonderful dining opportunities from home-cooked to chef-driven. Unique shopping opportunities, nowhere else to be found murals for your selfies, and overnight accommodations that range from traditional to bed and breakfast to bourbon-themed. Go to visitlebanonky.com for more details. Lebanon Tourist and Convention Commission, 270-692-0021.
Whether you're buying or selling, be it your first home or your last home, or building your investment portfolio, give me a call. I'm Lisa Kearns, a realtor with Exit Realty Heartland. I understand the stress and hassles involved in buying and selling, and I will be here for you. Let me put my 20-plus years experience in marketing and customer service to work for you. Give me a call, 270-402-4036. Lisa Kearns, realtor with Exit Realty Heartland, here to work for you.
Hey, this is Jimbo.
This is J-Bo.
Man, we are so happy because, J-Bo, we got this podcast going, and we got fantastic sponsors like our good buddy Billy Taft with Big O Tires.
Billy Taft, longtime friend, and I've been going to him for years for new tires at Big O Tires.
I needed a new set of tires just recently. Guess where I went?
Where'd you go?
Big O Tires here in Lebanon, Kentucky, the heart of Central Kentucky. Billy Taft. He took fantastic care of me. I know he's always taking care of you.
Yeah, heck yeah. He's even taking care of me when I broke down in Bardstown. He has a Bardstown location as well. Fixed the tires right up. Baby, I was out the door, back to Lebanon in no time.
He does a fantastic job. He's always worried about number one. You know what number one is?
What's that?
That is the customer.
Exactly.
The customer is always right when it comes to Billy Taft and Big O Tires, J-Bo.
You can get oil changes, tire rotations, new tires. Heck, he's even got used tires you can buy.
Absolutely. Whatever it is you're looking for, I guarantee you're going to find it at Big O Tires, Bardstown, or in Lebanon. Boy, and guess what? They are sponsors right here, J-Bo, on Two Shots on a Barrel.
I'm telling you what, we love Billy Taft and Big O Tires.
Go there today. Big O Tires, Billy Taft. It's in Lebanon and Bardstown, the heart of Central Kentucky. Two old boys ain't much for working. J-Bo, I love it. I love it, man. I love that tune.
Terry is so talented.
Terry Woolley. So, the story goes that I said, Terry, we're doing this podcast thing. We're just a couple of guys want to talk about bourbon, everything that is Central Kentucky. And Terry's like, I got you. And he took it from there.
Yeah, 24 hours later, bam, we have an opening theme for our podcast.
Terry Woolley with Crystal Music is to kind of icing on the cake. Is sponsoring Two Shots on the Barrel. I don't know how cool that is.
Not only did he do this for us, He's also sponsoring us. So, I mean, it's a double whammy from old Terry. Thank you, Terry.
And you guys have come a long way. You know, you went from a point in time where you guys didn't necessarily get along the best in the world, and now you are like best friends.
Well, it's like, you know, you put two superstars in one room, you know, there's going to be some bumping heads.
Listen, whether it's recording, maybe it's some voice lessons that you need, some learning how to play a guitar, harmonica, you name it, Crystal Music in Campbellsville, Kentucky is the place to go.
Hey, I even was in a tight spot. I was going to go to Nashville. I was going to interview a bunch of artists, and I needed a guitar to sign.
I remember that.
I walked in there, and I'm telling you, they have guitars everywhere. And he said, "You don't want this guitar, you want this guitar." And he set me up, and away I went to Nashville. Bam.
He took care of you, and that's the way he can take care of everybody. He's a good dude. He works so hard. His wife, Ina, though, is the best thing in the world about him. There's no doubt about that. But Terry Woolley is a great dude, and for every musical thing that you need, including if you're out there listening and you need a jingle for your podcast, reach out to Terry Woolley. Check him out on Facebook. Look him up, Terry Woolley. That's Wooley. Or look up Crystal Music. You'll be able to check out all their deals along the way. And thanks so much, as always, J-Bo. They're a great sponsor.
Hey, and we're looking for more.
Absolutely. Right here on Two Shots in a Barrel. All right, back to Two Shots on a Barrel, closing out 2020. Thank God, J-Bo, because I got to tell you, 2020 has absolutely sucked.
Oh, it's been awful. One thing that's cool, though, is about 7 months ago, I started a podcast with my buddy, Jim Reed. So that's a good thing to have.
One thing is bad, I've never drank this much bourbon in my life.
And we had a lot of bourbon.
Even when I ran around at Bickett's, I was a beer guy.
Right.
You know, I drank beer. And now it seems like I've always got bourbon.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
You're a bad influence.
I'm a bad influencer, man. And I had somebody call me last night and told me that I was a bad influence. One of our sponsors, David Wheatley, with the other show, said, "Dude, you got me into golfing and hunting. That's two of the worst things you could have possibly done. I can't stop doing them." So I'm glad I'm rubbing off on you as well.
Have you tried? By the way, have you tried your Jefferson's bourbon that I got you for Christmas?
I haven't yet.
I figured we would have that today, sipping on it.
I'll bring it
to be
next
honest
time.
with you.
I'll bring it out.
But anyhow, hey, we're hanging out with Joe Keith Bickett and Robbie Bickett. So Robbie, you know, we talked a lot about Joe Keith and obviously the books and the history that is and the legend that is Joe Keith. Were you just like a young whippersnapper when all this was going on?
I was on the peripheral. I'll just say that, you know, I was probably, in 89, I was like 23, 22, so I was in college.
Yeah.
So I didn't have as much to do with that. But
so how much did you kind of know all of this was kind of going on?
It was pretty blatant.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like Joe Keith and different ones hid anything.
And Jimmy Bickett.
And young Jimmy Bickett.
All right, so
Bobby Joe Shoemaker and Johnny Boone and Tommy Lee, different ones. There was let me interject here real quickly before Robbie gets into his thing. But when you talk about me, there was a lot more that the only difference is to me is I wrote the books.
Right.
There was a lot of players in the so-called Cornbread Mafia, you know, and actually it originated back in the late 70s, as you guys know.
Yeah.
How many people would you say were in that core group in the 70s? Because you hear the story about sitting around saying, "Hey, we can do this." Is there a number, like if you could say there was 8 guys or there was 10 guys, is there that core group that you would say as to these are the guys that really established what would end up being termed Cornbread Mafia?
There was it was loosely connected. I don't know how you would really say if you talked about all the cannabis cultivators back then, it would be huge.
Yeah.
If you talked about just our little group out of Raywick, then you're going to narrow it down.
Yeah.
But going fast forward, I think Robbie can tell us a little bit about the not the cannabis world so much, but about the hemp world right now.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you know, you're talking about the Cornbread Mafia. I never did even realize it was a Cornbread Mafia. It was more of a lifestyle. I grew up with Johnny Boone's boy Jeff.
Right.
Different ones, that we all hung around with. And to see Joe Keith and Jimmy and different ones that had money, or Bobby Joe Shoemaker, or different ones, like you said, it really wasn't like we thought of them as anything different than I'm thinking of you two right now. They like to go out and have a good time.
Right.
And,
Probably, I mean, these were guys that honestly God worked hard too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's easy about that.
Was it more of like, I mean, these are some hard-working farm guys.
They all had background in agriculture.
Yeah.
If you want to use today's terms. Back then we would call it farming.
Right.
But yeah, all of us grew up in a rural area.
Yeah.
So it was a rural thing.
What's
Yeah.
cool though is Joe Keith went through this world of marijuana, and he did a lot of good with the marijuana. I mean, the money from the marijuana. Of course, it was good to smoke. But now that he served his time and he's coming back, and the cousin or the sister of marijuana, that is the hemp world, and it's very similar to Joe Keith's world, except you have to abide by the Kentucky laws of what is it, 0.03 of the THC.
The federal law is 0.30.
0.30, and you have to watch.
0.03, Rob.
Yeah, well, it's 310.
So you have to separate, like Joe Keith had to separate the males from the females, had to get rid of them. But you had to be careful with having too many of the.
Well, it's basically the
same thing. Really.
The concept is the same. The females make the flour,
Right.
And in our product, that's all we use is the flour. Other people, they say, well, this product is a whole lot cheaper. They grind up the whole stalk, whatever's in the field, they go with the combine and just throw it all in a batch, melt it down, and say this is hemp oil. They don't call it CBD because CBD is made from the flour. It's just like the bud of the marijuana plant.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're raising the hemp, the best thing to do is have feminized seed where you don't have as many males. You'll still have a few males.
But you got to get rid of them.
You got to get rid of them. And that flowering is what causes, to have the good CBD.
Right.
And we raise plants that, like Joe Keith said, that are certified to stay under that average on the THC, which is federally set.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, the hemp market is huge nowadays, as Robbie knows. There's all kinds of companies into it now, and the problem with it is that, and I'll kind of clarify that. The problem is that your big growers are pretty much controlling the market now.
Yeah,
Whereas
I've heard
your
that.
Small crop growers have, are pretty much been eliminated, haven't they, Robbie? Or not eliminated, but
a lot of them still got barns full of hemp.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
That's the sad thing.
The way we sit there and still market ours is just like like people do their bourbon. Ours is small patch hemp, and it's small batch CBD. We trim it. We sit there. Ours is Kentucky proud. It never leaves the state of Kentucky. From that time, it's clipped in Raywick. It goes to Lexington or Louisville to be processed and distilled. Comes back and packaged, and then it goes out. We never sit there and grind it up. It doesn't go anywhere else. It stays right here in Kentucky.
Yeah, we pride ourselves. We pride ourselves on knowing that where our CBD oil comes from is from our farms down there in Raywick. Now, lots of people tout, this is certified yet. But I bet you money they don't know exactly where it comes from.
True.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
They tout that, but that's their thing.
Now, one thing this stuff does, it does a lot of stuff similar to marijuana. It helps with anxiety. It helps some people with their eating. It helps
my brother-in-law's got a lot of back pains, a lot of knee pains.
Yeah.
He swears by it.
Inflammation.
Swears by it.
I will promise you this. We can't say that it cures this or not because
It helps.
it's not FDA approved. No CBD is.
Right.
But I've used it ever since I broke my leg 3 years ago, and it's the only thing that helps with the inflammation. In my leg.
Yeah.
I'm a believer 100% in it, and I can't wait to try these products that you brought in. You want to tell us a little bit about them?
Well, yeah, I can.
Let me pass them over to you.
Joe Keith's signature brand is the Cornbread Mafia, under the label.
That's cool.
You got Omerta Bourbon Cinnamon.
Oh, yes.
And you've got Peace Frog for Jimmy Bickett. And we have several other products too. But like I said, the main thing I use is the muscle cream. And
really?
No THC signature with the muscle cream at all, even though all of our products are below the federal guidelines.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have any THC signature with muscle cream. So you can put it on, you can put the whole can on if you want.
It just has to do with the ingestibles, right, Rob?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, myself, I use it as a sleep aid. I have a pretty eventful day each day, and in order to unwind, I come in the afternoons, and after I get most of my work done, I'll take a thimbleful, I'll drop it full of that right before I go to bed, and I sleep like a baby. It's not it's not a sedative or anything.
No,
it just relaxes you.
Yeah.
Now you put it under your tongue
Absolutely.
and hold it there for 30 seconds or so, and just swallow it, and that's all you have to do.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
You know, I think what
I don't think it's a placebo. I think it really works.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah,
And especially, I'm comfortable with doing ours because I know where it comes from.
absolutely.
I tried when I first dabbled into it. I was like, I'm going to drink a bunch just to see, so I can prove to people you don't get high, you don't get all this goofy stuff. It was an expensive drink because the bottles are so. But I never did it again. But I never. And then after that, I did one of those at home tests to see if it would show up nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
A good product won't. Well, our product is double tested. Our product, when that hemp comes out of the field, it's tested.
Yeah.
Then, when they make the product, before it goes anywhere, it's tested by Catcher Labs, KYCHA, big labs all over the United States.
Sure.
And they make sure that product is exactly what we say's in it.
That's cool.
awesome. That's good stuff.
You know what would be so cool? Joe Keith obviously spent a lot of time partying because of selling a product.
Right.
I think it would be so cool if the product that Joe Keith is now selling, he goes back to Super Bowls and he goes back to
And I hope he takes-
Vegas.
You guys might be exaggerating.
Come on now.
Hey, listen. Hey, that's where dreams are made,
I
baby.
think I'm a little past that.
I tell you, we've met with the hemp. We've met a lot of interesting people. I met Jorma Kakawan, who was he's actually the lead guitar player with Jefferson Airplane, with Hot Tuna. He's a big. We actually produce their own product called Jorma's Choice. We do that for them. I met Trey Burke's dad, Benji Burke.
That's
Benji's a big
cool.
advocate of the product.
Yeah.
So we've, it's really been like we was talking about with Joe Keith and them. The people you meet along the way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a process of life. There's those highs and there's those really low lows.
Yep.
And some highs with people, but hopefully it levels off. And at the end, you have a lot better life ahead.
Cannabis is a good thing, both economically and from my perspective, it's okay to use either medicinal or for a little recreational purposes. It's certainly no worse than what we're doing right here today.
So what's a chance? What's a chance, Joe Keith, that you think that Kentucky will be one of those states, whether it be for recreational or medicinal uses for cannabis?
I've been following that both state level and federal level. The state is kind of hung right there right now. Not to be talking about political persuasion, but just to be quite frank about it, I think that the Republican Senate has got it held up right now, and just keeping it real. I hate to get into politics. But that's the bottom line. Kentucky has a tendency to kind of slow walk everything, for a better way to put it.
Well, you've heard about the casinos and all those things, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
I know here we are really needing some tax dollars.
Absolutely.
And we got these things right on our threshold here. We could legalize gambling with the river boats, and we could probably legalize marijuana, both recreational and medical.
Absolutely.
And it'd be a huge income, know. And while we sit here with our heads stuck in the sand, sometimes makes me wonder. Federal level right now, they've got what they call the MORE Act, M-O-R-E. And it's went through the House of Representatives, federal level. And they're wanting to deschedule it it's a Schedule 1 narcotic under federal law. But if they drop it one level down to Schedule 2, that would decriminalize it. And so that would be really good. Now, that thing is set on the back burner right now because of all the other stuff's going on right now.
Sure.
But there is a chance that it could pass. I think President-elect Biden has suggested that he might be on board with that. I know Vice President Kamala Harris she's on board for it. But then again, it depends on what the Senate does. And course, that's probably not the most important thing for our government right now with this corona thing going on.
Right.
But, the segue in on that, Kentucky, just like this bourbon we're drinking, Kentucky has the limestone soil. It's got the temperate climate, beautiful summer sun, and it makes the best product. It makes the best product, and whether you look at bourbon, whether you look at horses, whether you look at whatever. And I'm not demeaning any other state. I'm just saying that Kentucky's well situated to sit there and make money out of cannabis in the future.
Absolutely, and we've got some of the greatest cannabis growers of ever,
Sitting
forever.
one right next to
You know
one.
what I'm saying? I mean, we got experts in the industry.
So I'm sitting here
Best in the
thinking.
field.
Yeah, you got it, Robbie.
One thing that I thought of when I was thinking of you two together was everything he's been through, all the marijuana that he's run his fingers through and dealt with. His brother comes along and starts pretty much the same thing, but
On a legal level.
on a legal level. When you came back, I'm sure you've gone to check out his operation. How did it feel to walk into his world for the first time once you left that?
Well, it's sort of surreal, yes. It was different, It was almost like stepping back in time. At the same time, you could get yourself caught up in that capsule of thinking you were back in the day, back in the 70s or 80s. Because when you walk through a field of hemp, the same aromas, the same sensations, and all that stuff is there. The only difference is the THC factor is way below what.
Product you all were growing.
I mean, you get that same smell though.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
You cannot tell the difference between a cannabis, a hemp plant and a marijuana plant.
Wow.
Test it.
Wow.
Okay, it's the
I'm
same
talking
test.
about just the visual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're just walking out in the field and
You
it's
touch
like,
it, it's got the same residue
Yeah.
on it. It's got the same stickiness. It's got the same smell.
And we actually have the Hemp Fest. We didn't have it this year. We had it virtual
they're at the farm, right?
at the farm. Where
Yeah.
people can go through and feel, because like Joe Keith said, the first time I saw it, I was like, well, this isn't even hemp. I think it's marijuana because it looks exactly the same as it was back 25 years ago.
Right,
It's the
right.
same thing. So actually, we had the Hemp Fest where people, every 1st of October, people can walk through. They can see the hemp. We'll have bands, different things. And
That's
it's
cool.
More of a festival.
We
That's
won't
cool.
miss the next one. We'll
Yeah.
be there. We'll be there.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought of, though. I was like, how emotional was that to step back in the field again and not only touch, feel, but to be a part of it. It's in your family.
Well, my brother Jimmy, he did a heck of a long
Yeah.
federal sentence
Sure.
himself, and he's kind of the man in charge on the growing down there.
Yeah. He's an expert grower.
Jimmy did,
He's one of the legends.
Jimmy did right under the same amount of time I did. He did roughly 17 years. Bobby Joe Shoemaker did 26. Johnny Boone, no telling how many years he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Lee out the Calvary did about 18 or 19. There's a lot
That
of
goes
guys.
on and
It's
on.
just not me.
Yeah, it goes on
There's
and
a
on.
lot of guys that spend a lot of time in prison on something today is legal.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the main players, as opposed to a lot of guys did, like 8 or 10 years
Right.
that around here.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine sitting 21 plus years in jail over something that God put out there for us. I mean, I don't. Why isn't there people in the tobacco industry making millions and it's killing people? Yeah. Have you ever met anybody that's died from marijuana? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I could be
what I
wrong.
was going to say, to follow up with that, the way they say the CBD affects people is that we have a cannabinoid system in our body, which meant, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, people were actually using it for some reason. They were actually using it and developed into a part of our system. So it's really weird, and like I said today, especially when you talk about Joe Keith and Jimmy, different one, to have to serve time for something that they grow. You see it on TV. Out in California, they got hundreds of acres growing.
Absolutely.
They can't even sell it because they grow so much.
The irony is that a lot of the people that was so negative against cannabis back in the 70s or 80s are the very people that are in some of the biggest companies today.
Yeah.
That's it's really crazy.
It's crazy.
Now another thing that I got that was deep in these books, man. I'm like, my brain was just spinning. And I'm like, okay, so Joe
It
Keith,
don't take much for his
no,
brain.
it does. It does. It's
Just
like
so
a
y'all
hamster
know.
wheel.
Just
it's like
so
a
you
hamster
know.
wheel. So first thing when I got out of jail after 21 years, I'm really looking for that dude that made you that lied about you and got you. I'd be out looking for him or send him.
You'd be looking to kick some ass.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Punched the little dude in his head, the little guy. I mean, I was royally pissed off because you could tell that you were royally pissed off, which you should have been in the book. And stuff like that happened. I've never met anybody or interviewed anybody that has gone through what you've gone through.
It happened. It definitely happened. I don't know really how to explain it, but no, I didn't get out looking for anybody or anything. I was just happy to get out. It was the happiest day of my life. In fact, Robbie and my son and Jimmy and my daughter Tessa picked me up at Manchester when I got out in 2011, and I didn't have the first drop of bitterness in me. I was just damn lucky.
He's like, thank God I'm out of here.
And you can believe a lot of people were like that because it's not the same as these things that you see in nothing against Mexico. But Mexico, where you have cartels knocking people off. These were just people that got caught up in something that started out as a $500 fine, and then in '88 they're saying, you get mandatory minimums of 25 years. And nobody even knew how to read the book.
Right.
Their attorneys didn't even know how to apply the federal guidelines.
Yeah.
So,
it was a learning process for real.
Yeah.
Well, if I ever meet that guy, man,
you gonna whoop his ass, aren't you?
Hey, my name's Jim Reed.
J-Bo, we need to take a break. We're gonna come back for.
You catch a case on that shit.
All right, we're gonna take a break, guys. We'll come back for for segment 3 on episode of. We're having fun though, man. This is cool stuff. This is well worth the price of admission. By the way, fill me up, bartender. All right, here we go. Back after this break on 2 Shots on a Barrel.
The Marion County Trail could be the best value in bourbon-themed travel in Kentucky. You'll experience one of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail's crown jewels, one of the Bourbon Trail Craft Tour's top-rated stops, and something you can't find anywhere else. Organized tours of a bourbon barrel manufacturing facility, all in one place. It's the Marion County Trail. Take your time to tour, dine, shop, and stay all along the way. Explore world-famous Maker's Mark, a hot ticket item on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Limestone Branch Distillery, home of world-famous Yellowstone bourbon, and one of the top-rated stops on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Craft Tour. Kentucky Cooperage, the sprawling plant where the thriving bourbon industry's barrels are hand-built and seared with fire for bourbon aging flavor. And Lebanon, home of wonderful dining opportunities from home-cooked to chef-driven. Unique shopping opportunities, nowhere else to be found murals for your selfies, and overnight accommodations that range from traditional to bed and breakfast to bourbon-themed. Go to visitlebanonky.com for more details. Lebanon Tourist and Convention Commission, 270-692-0021.
Whether you're buying or selling, be it your first home or your last home, or building your investment portfolio, give me a call. I'm Lisa Kearns, a realtor with Exit Realty Heartland. I understand the stress and hassles involved in buying and selling, and I will be here for you. Let me put my 20-plus years experience in marketing and customer service to work for you. Give me a call, 270-402-4036. Lisa Kearns, realtor with Exit Realty Heartland, here to work for you.
Hey, this is Jimbo.
This is J-Bo.
Man, we are so happy because, J-Bo, we got this podcast going, and we got fantastic sponsors like our good buddy Billy Taft with Big O Tires.
Billy Taft, longtime friend, and I've been going to him for years for new tires at Big O Tires.
I needed a new set of tires just recently. Guess where I went?
Where'd you go?
Big O Tires here in Lebanon, Kentucky, the heart of Central Kentucky. Billy Taft. He took fantastic care of me. I know he's always taking care of you.
Yeah, heck yeah. He's even taking care of me when I broke down in Bardstown. He has a Bardstown location as well. Fixed the tires right up. Baby, I was out the door, back to Lebanon in no time.
He does a fantastic job. He's always worried about number one. You know what number one is?
What's that?
That is the customer.
Exactly.
The customer is always right when it comes to Billy Taft and Big O Tires, J-Bo.
You can get oil changes, tire rotations, new tires. Heck, he's even got used tires you can buy.
Absolutely. Whatever it is you're looking for, I guarantee you're going to find it at Big Old Tires, Bardstown, or in Lebanon. Boy, and guess what? They are sponsors right here, J-Bo, on Two Shots on a Barrel.
I'm telling you what, we love Billy Taft and Big Old Tires.
Go there today. Big Old Tires, Billy Taft. It's in Lebanon and Bardstown, the heart of Central Kentucky. Two old boys ain't much for working. J-Bo, I love it. I love it, man. I love that tune.
Terry is so talented.
Terry Woolley. So, the story goes that I said, Terry, we're doing this podcast thing. We're just a couple of guys want to talk about bourbon, everything that is Central Kentucky. And Terry's like, I got you. And he took it from there.
Yeah, 24 hours later, bam, we have an opening theme for our podcast.
Terry Woolley with Crystal Music is to kind of icing on the cake. Is sponsoring Two Shots on the Barrel. I don't know how cool that is.
Not only did he do this for us, he's also sponsoring us. So, I mean, it's a double whammy from old Terry. Thank you, Terry.
And you guys have come a long way. You went from a point in time where you guys didn't necessarily get along the best in the world, and now you are like best friends.
Well, it's like, you put two superstars in one room, there's going to be some bumping heads.
Listen, whether it's recording, maybe it's some voice lessons that you need, some learning how to play a guitar, harmonica, you name it, Crystal Music in Campbellsville, Kentucky is the place to go.
Hey, I even was in a tight spot. I was going to go to Nashville. I was going to interview a bunch of artists, and I needed a guitar to sign.
I remember that.
I walked in there, and I'm telling you, they have guitars everywhere. And he said, you don't want this guitar, you want this guitar. And he set me up, and away I went to Nashville. Bam.
He took care of you, and that's the way he can take care of everybody. He's a good dude. He works so hard. His wife, Anna, though, is the best thing in the world about him. There's no doubt about that. But Terry Woolley is a great dude, and for every musical thing that you need, including... If you're out there listening and you need a jingle for your podcast, reach out to Terry Woolley. Check him out on Facebook. Look him up, Terry Woolley. That's Wooley. Or look up Crystal Music. You'll be able to check out all their deals along the way. And thanks so much, as always, J-Bo. They're a great sponsor.
Hey, and we're looking for more.
Absolutely. Right here on Two Shots in a Barrel.
We're back with Two Shots on the Barrel, and let's see, Jim's in his third glass, so he's having problems hitting the buttons, but we are back with the Bickett boys.
You talked before I hit the red button.
I'm sorry,
it has
man.
nothing to do with...
it's all right.
What am I drinking right now, McKenna?
McKenna, yes.
It's absolutely great, fantastic,
now listen,
superb.
Try that again.
One,
3 shots tonight.
3 shots, right.
Yeah.
Now listen, I found out from reading these books that Joe Keith is a genius. He is a mastermind genius. You want to know how I know this?
How do you know it?
Okay. I go to Walmart to get 2 or 3 things. I get there, I totally forget what the hell I'm there for. Yeah. Dude right here can tell you the name of his best friend's attorney's girlfriend's sister, and it's all right there, and he didn't forget anybody's name in this book. He named them. I mean, the ones that needed to be named anyway.
But in all honesty, I told you, J-Bo, 21 years in prison, you're going to have that opportunity to remember some of those names.
Yeah, you have a lot of time to reflect. For sure.
Right, but still.
Where did I screw up?
But I'm seriously just dumbfounded with how he remembered stuff.
All right, so I've got to ask a question, Joe Keith. How much did prison absolutely suck?
Prison is not what it's cracked up to be, guys. It's not. And that all that James Cagney bullshit there, where people sneaking around in prison and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The state joints are pretty bad, but the fed joints are not really as tough as they claim they are. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of gangs and stuff in there, but yeah, in our situation, there was a lot of our guys from back home, like Johnny Boone, me and my brother.
So a lot of you guys were in the same place?
Absolutely.
We ended up at the same place.
And we had a lot of street cred in there, and nobody screwed with us.
So nobody wanted to mess with you?
No.
Good.
Well, they knew we were stand up, and that you get a lot of respect over that kind of stuff.
Right.
If you're stand up, you don't have to. Well, yeah, you're going to run into
problem every now and then.
Yeah, you're going to run into a problem every now and then, but overall, it's like being in a little city, you know, everybody's got a job, everybody's got a place to be and everything. Of course, you're going to have a lot of disturbances. We had riots, we had fights, we had shankings. Actually, it wasn't a hell of a lot rougher in the streets of Ray.
I mean, did you see some of this stuff though?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Small city, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm just like, all right, but if I'm thinking, you know, if I'm in there, I'm like, I ain't messing with this son of a buck. Yeah. I ain't messing with him. Yeah. I mean, did you have you talked about being able to, I guess, credibility or whatever, but I mean, if I'm coming in there, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this dude is a bad son of a buck. I'm not messing with him.
If you got friends in there like we did, you know, and you know, there's an old cliche there that says that, you know, there's safety in groups, you know, and the Cornbread Mafia did have groups in there. And if they knew you was associated with our group and everything, we didn't have any problems from other groups. There was Crips and Bloods, Mexican Mafia, just on and on, you know, the MH13s. In fact, they had one of those for a silly for a while, one of those really rough bunch out of El Salvador, you know.
Wow. Really?
And wow. Those guys, you know, I know
think Jimmy Bickett was still with Carlos Sletter, wasn't he? From
Jimmy was. Jimmy was in with his co-defendants. One of them's name was Jack Reed, and the other's name was Felix Bates. In fact, I'm currently writing another memoir on our years in prison, and it's going to be pretty interesting when I get it done.
That's cool. Yeah. So I've got a question. So J-Bo, I could totally see. I know you talked about like documentaries, like movie documentaries, but I could totally see a film, like a major film about the Cornbread Mafia and the whole deal. So when I'm sitting here thinking about this, Robbie, I'm thinking about who would play Joe Keith. What actor would be Joe Keith?
Who would play Robbie?
Yeah, who would be Robbie? Who would be Bobby Joe?
Whatever it is.
You know, who would be Bobby Joe Shoemaker?
Yeah.
Who would be these guys? These legends? Who would be Johnny Boone?
Well,
I mean, is that something that would be
never really
like
crossed my mind,
I would pay big money to go see that movie. That would be an awesome movie.
Joe Keith is actually working with some guys from different places, but, you know, and maybe it'll come out later on.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, there's some things in the works.
People have approached you about it.
That's there's some things in the works, and there have been some different aspects of that possibly in the future. We'll see how that plays out.
Hypothetically, though, I got to know this: who would play Joe Keith, Bickett?
Well, hell, I guess
I mean, what
Kentucky Cats.
What
George Clooney?
That's what I was thinking. I agree.
That's
cool stuff, man.
that is good.
Kentucky, we're all for.
I wonder who we get to play Johnny Boone or Bobby Joe Shoemaker.
That's a great question.
Or even better, Jimmy Bickett.
Yeah, that's what I said. Well,
or Tommy Lee. You know, in prison we called Tommy Scarface because he had a Scarface.
Al Pacino, but Al Pacino's too old now, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's too old to play a suave character.
It really is funny when you watch shows like different things on Netflix and like Rectify, the old shows that show the prison life, and you can really relate to those shows. When I was a kid, you didn't relate to them at all.
Right.
Like, whatever. But now as you get older, you're like, I understand what's going on.
That is so cool, though.
Well, man, I appreciate you clearing the air with what really happened with the Cornbread Mafia, where it started, how it was named, everything that I didn't know is in that book.
Well, a lot of I'm not going to call any names, but a lot of literature, or we'll say articles on the Cornbread Mafia. Let's use one of Trump's statements. There's a lot of fake news out there.
There is a lot of fake news out there.
No, I don't mean to be condescending.
It's true. Everything I heard on the street is not what I read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was all about Johnny Boone. I love Johnny Boone, but it was all, he was the mastermind. He was the godfather of grass, which he was.
Yeah.
But
Johnny's a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
He's a great friend of ours.
But it was
a lot more to it than that.
A lot more to it. You're right.
Well, the reason being, and let me clarify there, the reason being on that, at the time of, we'll say, certain publications, that not everybody was on board for that at that time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was held back, and that's the reason I think, in my perspective, my book tells the true and
real
story about how it come about. That stuff, a lot of that stuff in my books was not revealed.
And Joe Keith is a first-hand chronicler.
Yeah,
that's the first-hand knowledge. That's
yeah.
different than even if I said, "Hey, J-Bo, let me tell you this story about Jim Reed."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jim may come back and say, "Well, that's not exactly the way it was."
Right.
But
So, is there anything you would have done different, Joe Keith?
Well, I wouldn't have got caught.
But what ultimately do you think led to that? Was it the lifestyle?
That question, lots of people ask that question. Is there anything different than you would have done?
Was it the lifestyle, you think?
I got you caught.
I don't know. It's just I think that probably handwriting was on the wall at the time. We should have shut down early.
They were looking for you, right?
We should have shut down, and we didn't do that, and that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's just the way some things play out. But it's all.
Yeah.
It's the way it works
like
out.
I said, the mandatory minimums, nobody really saw that coming. There was always something happening in the federal government, but the attorneys that they had, and they're great attorneys, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but they didn't even recognize the severity of what the mandatory minimums was. And they actually made kind of a showcase out of the Cornbread Mafia when they...
So is it the whole 3 strikes and stuff like that?
Well, mandatory minimums means that they go across... Like they'll say, how many pounds of marijuana did you have? Plus, go down, what's your criminal history?
Oh, okay.
And at that point, they say, well, so Joe Keith got caught with some grass once before, whatever.
Yeah.
Then they say, well, that's 2 strikes against him. Plus, he had so much that we're going to give him 20 years.
Which is bonkers.
Yeah.
It was crazy back in the day. A lot of that stuff's been rectified since then. They don't send the feds don't sentence you like they did back in the early 90s or the late 80s. A lot of that stuff's been overturned. They found that the sentencing guidelines were unconstitutional.
And didn't work.
A number of things.
It didn't work.
And like I said, it's just the time and space of when those things happen.
To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, J-Bo.
I tell you what does make sense is we got him back. He's back with us now, and man, you're doing big, big things. We have books, we have CBD oil now,
and more to come,
So you've already talked about some more books and things. I mean, what else is cooking for you, Joe Keith?
Now you're digging, aren't you?
I'm digging, man. I want to know, brother.
Investigative journalism.
Hey, I just want to know. I mean, because man, there's a lot of stuff that you can still tell.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the making. I can't get into a lot of it. I'm working on this 3rd book I was telling you guys about, and hopefully I'll have that out in the next year or so. And there's a lot of things, in politics, a lot of changes in state level legislation and federal level. Looks like a lot of good things are happening.
Yeah.
Us as Kentuckians, we just need to get on board with it.
I'm with you on that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like I said, nonviolent offenders, if there's no violence, they should be released or fined or whatever way you want to deal with them. But the prison system needs to be corrected.
Well, there's no equality when you're talking about a guy like Joe Keith who's sitting here. Man, I would go to the next Super Bowl with Joe Keith every day of the
Super Bowl,
every day of the week,
especially if he's paying, right?
I mean, I would go with him every day of the week.
Yeah,
but there's no different. I mean, there's so much different, man. You see what I'm saying in Joe Keith and, for God's sakes, a true felon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's no comparison.
Yeah, there's a lot of the pot growers are just the same as me. The biggest majority of them are just like me. They're nonviolent people, and we were just looking to make a little money, and then we got to making a lot of money. So
I assure you, in Marion County or even in Kentucky, there's probably not any families that haven't been touched by marijuana in the past. And like I said, it's not like you went out and murdered somebody. It's like all right, you're growing a plant that God put on the earth.
Absolutely.
Well, look, you can go to Amazon.com and buy both of your books. Where can we go to get your oil?
BickettandBoone.com,
okay.
Like Joe Keith would say, is the main source. But also give a shout-out to Pat's Pharmacy. Pat's Pharmacy was one of the first ones to carry us.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of places here in Lebanon, southeastern Ohio, We do a lot of white labeling for, like I said, Jordan's Choice and different ones. UNS in Louisville, Stouts in Mount Washington. There's just hundreds of not hundreds, but numerous places. Too many for me to name.
Yeah,
right.
But a lot of good people have taken good care of us.
That's great.
We're going to do a lot more in the future too. Right now, we're just kind of fledgling right now, but we intend to market some even more products through Bickett and Boone and Cornbread Mafia in the near future. Once this pandemic is over and we get this thing under control.
Can we somehow get a line of shirts, the Cornbread Mafia shirt line going?
Go to cornbreadmafia.com.
Well, we haven't got them right now, but
So they're coming though, right?
Yeah, we've had them in the past.
Yeah.
We'll have
Yeah,
them.
we'll be a walk-in billboard for you
Be
guys.
sure to come to the Hemp Festival.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we need to do that.
We'll be there, definitely.
One of the coolest things, you can tell whether something is really good. You look at the reviews. I do that all the time on books or movies. Dude, you're killing it with your books, Joe Keith. I mean, your reviews are phenomenal. I mean, it just shows. Were you I'm just curious. You know, growing up, I'm talking about the Joe Keith that was in school. Were you a writer? Did you enjoy writing?
No. I learned to write while I was in prison. I become about halfway a jailhouse lawyer, and when you become a jailhouse lawyer and you're trying to fight your case, you learn how to write legal material. And
Wow,
from there,
that's cool.
You go from there.
And for me, I'd get a call from Joe Keith, and the only thing he'd be talking about was something he was writing. He'd say, look at this breed, and I'd be like, okay, I'll listen to you. But Joe Keith done great writing everything.
Well, Robbie was kind of our go-to guy when me and Jimmy was down. We had to have him to take care of all our stuff on the street, and he did a hell of a job.
That's
good.
But
that's good.
You want to give a shout out to any of the Bicketts back in Raywick before we wrap this thing up?
Go with Joe Keith. You better go with Jimbo.
Well, I want to give a shout out to all the cannabis growers out there that didn't get caught. You guys hang in there.
There you go.
And the ones that did, we got that bias, so we're okay.
Right.
The CBD and the hemp has given people in Kentucky a real opportunity to do something good with what they've known their whole lives. There's a lot of good growers, like Joe Keith said. A lot of people that know how to grow and they've done things their whole lives.
Yeah.
So shout out to them too.
All right, so you are not the only Bickett in the family that's written books. We should bring this out.
Well, I don't use solid caps, no.
All right, yeah. You need to listen. I love Charlie Bickett, but you need to teach that son of a bitch how to write.
Yeah.
Because he can't. I mean,
well, I'll give that to you.
Can you interpret? Can you interpret for me, Robbie, how Charlie writes? I love Charlie. Let me say this for sure.
Charlie's colorful writing. It uses big words. Because that's why it's big caps. So there you go.
I love Charlie. Don't get.
All you got to remember is Charlie Bickett unfiltered.
Yeah. Always.
Charlie.
Always.
I told the story. I was down at his place one time, and he really, honest to God, should have asked me to leave several times. But for him, it was good entertainment to see this young little prep kid sitting there.
Throwing down.
Yeah. He was having a great time. So it was worth a whole lot more to him just for me to stay there than to kick me out.
Yeah, we love you. Well, guys, thanks for coming in. I know I'm shocked that you said yes. So thank you for coming in. And thank you for being.
Haven't got the bill yet.
Thanks for being. Thanks for being an important part of our family. And I know my in-laws think the world of you and your brothers, and man, it just means a lot that you came down here.
Yeah,
well, we're all family if you really think about it.
Yeah, we are.
We are, and here in Marion County,
absolutely,
Lebanon, Raywick, and in the heart of Kentucky, we are family.
And when that next book comes out, we need you back.
You got that?
Yeah, we would love to preview it, brother.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
But again, yeah, I'll echo what you said, J-Bo. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Joe Keith.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Robbie,
we'll get some of the other players down the road.
Yeah, we would love to. And Robbie, we go way back, brother.
We always have.
We all. Funny story about our buddy Steve Lee. So one night we were at your place, Robbie, and he and I had the coolest leather jackets ever. The same identical leather jacket. You know the story?
No, I don't. But go with that.
So we had the same identical leather jackets. So Steve left a little earlier than I did that night. I had my keys in my leather jacket. So Steve takes the leather jacket, but it's mine. I get to the house, and I was a young partying dude at the time, right? So we're having guys from everywhere coming to party. I had no keys to get into the house. And thank God for Steve Leake, busted the window. I was fixing a window the very next day. So,
like you
Steve
said,
Keith.
I always thank God for Steve Leake.
Yeah.
That's for sure. He's the man.
Hey, guys, thank you all for coming in.
Hey,
Thank you all.
We would
we're
love
glad
to have you
us.
back. Yeah.
We'll try to do that.
All right, brother.
J-Bo, we got some more shows I'm hoping to
That's right.
get to before we get out of here in 2020. But, man, what a
Stay
show.
tuned, man.
This is
Stay
good.
tuned.
This is good stuff. You guys take care. Happy 2021 to you.
Thank you all.
All right. We'll see you next time on Two Shots on a Barrel for Jimbo.
The Marion County Trail could be the best value in bourbon-themed travel in Kentucky. You'll experience one of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail's crown jewels, one of the Bourbon Trail Craft Tour's top-rated stops, and something you can't find anywhere else. Organized tours of a bourbon barrel manufacturing facility, all in one place. It's the Marion County Trail. Take your time to tour, dine, shop, and stay all along the way. Explore world-famous Maker's Mark, a hot ticket item on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Limestone Branch Distillery, home of world-famous Yellowstone bourbon, and one of the top-rated stops on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Craft Tour. Kentucky Cooperage, the sprawling plant where the thriving bourbon industry's barrels are hand-built and seared with fire for bourbon aging flavor. And Lebanon, home of wonderful dining opportunities from home-cooked to chef-driven. Unique shopping opportunities, nowhere else to be found murals for your selfies, and overnight accommodations that range from traditional to bed and breakfast to bourbon-themed. Go to visitlebanonky.com for more details. Lebanon Tourist and Convention Commission, 270-692-0021.
Whether you're buying or selling, be it your first home or your last home, or building your investment portfolio, give me a call. I'm Lisa Kearns, a realtor with Exit Realty Heartland. I understand the stress and hassles involved in buying and selling, and I will be here for you. Let me put my 20-plus years experience in marketing and customer service to work for you. Give me a call, 270-402-4036. Lisa Kearns, realtor with Exit Realty Heartland, here to work for you.
Hey, this is Jimbo.
This is J-Bo.
Man, we are so happy because, J-Bo, we got this podcast going, and we got fantastic sponsors like our good buddy Billy Taft with Big O Tires.
Billy Taft, longtime friend, and I've been going to him for years for new tires at Big O Tires.
I needed a new set of tires just recently. Guess where I went?
Where'd you go?
Big O Tires here in Lebanon, Kentucky, the heart of Central Kentucky. Billy Taft. He took fantastic care of me. I know he's always taking care of you.
Yeah, heck yeah. He's even taking care of me when I broke down in Bardstown. He has a Bardstown location as well. Fixed the tires right up. Baby, I was out the door, back to Lebanon in no time.
He does a fantastic job. He's always worried about number one. You know what number one is?
What's that?
That is the customer.
Exactly.
The customer is always right when it comes to Billy Taft and Big O Tires, J-Bo.
You can get oil changes, tire rotations, new tires. Heck, he's even got used tires you can buy.
Absolutely. Whatever it is you're looking for, I guarantee you're going to find it at Big O Tires, Bardstown, or in Lebanon. Boy, and guess what? They are sponsors right here, J-Bo, on Two Shots on a Barrel.
I'm telling you what, we love Billy Taft and Big O Tires.
Go there today. Big O Tires, Billy Taft. It's in Lebanon and Bardstown, the heart of Central Kentucky. Two old boys ain't much for working. J-Bo, I love it. I love it, man. I love that tune.
Terry is so talented.
Terry Woolley. So, the story goes that I said, Terry, we're doing this podcast thing. We're just a couple of guys want to talk about bourbon, everything that is Central Kentucky. And Terry's like, I got you. And he took it from there.
Yeah, 24 hours later, bam, we have an opening theme for our podcast.
Terry Woolley with Crystal Music is to kind of icing on the cake. Is sponsoring Two Shots on the Barrel. I don't know how cool that is.
Not only did he do this for us, he's also sponsoring us. So, I mean, it's a double whammy from old Terry. Thank you, Terry.
And you guys have come a long way. You went from a point in time where you guys didn't necessarily get along the best in the world, and now you are like best friends.
Well, it's like, you put two superstars in one room, there's going to be some bumping heads.
Listen, whether it's recording, maybe it's some voice lessons that you need, some learning how to play a guitar, harmonica, you name it, Crystal Music in Campbellsville, Kentucky is the place to go.
Hey, I even was in a tight spot. I was going to go to Nashville. I was going to interview a bunch of artists, and I needed a guitar to sign.
I remember that. I
walked in there, and I'm telling you, they have guitars everywhere. And he said, "You don't want this guitar, you want this guitar." And he set me up, and away I went to Nashville. Bam.
He took care of you, and that's the way he can take care of everybody. He's a good dude. He works so hard. His wife, Ina, though, is the best thing in the world about him. There's no doubt about that. But Terry Woolley is a great dude, and for every musical thing that you need, including if you're out there listening and you need a jingle for your podcast, reach out to Terry Woolley. Check him out on Facebook. Look him up, Terry Woolley. That's Wooley. Or look up Crystal Music. You'll be able to check out all their deals along the way. And thanks so much, as always, J-Bo. They're a great sponsor.
Hey, and we're looking for more.
Absolutely. Right here on Two Shots in a Barrel.